Welcome to the Dinnernet with Mark and Meg, the only podcast that knows what Ethan did to Kenji.
Our guest today is Michael Wong from Asian Verified, content creator and fellow stranger food writer. Welcome, Michael.
What's good? What's good, everybody? Happy to be here today.
How you doing?
I'm living large, you know,
Yeah.
XXL in fact. Just trying to stay out.
Triple
Just trying to
X.
stay out the way, you know what I mean?
How was your weekend?
Good weekend. Last few weekends I've been on uncle duty. And I need to be clear about this. For the previous how many ever weeks I was never on uncle duty. So it's all happened in the span of 2 weeks.
Okay.
Flew to San Francisco, watched my cousin play basketball, gave him a dap, went home. This weekend went to somewhere in Kent, watched my cousin play basketball, different cousin, 7 years old. Applied a Band-Aid to this kid
Nice.
mid-game. He runs over to us. Mom's in disarray, no Band-Aids. Uncle Michael has Band-Aids in
Damn
his
right.
wallet, bro. So I'm over there, you know, doing my sports medicine game. But yeah, that's my weekend.
You're
Uncle
pro-level
mode.
uncle.
Yeah, trying
Yeah.
to be.
How long have you been an uncle?
I'm not, dude. I'm
You're
not.
not
I'm
even a
not
real
even this.
uncle.
I'm not even this kid's godfather,
Yeah,
bro.
you're.
I'm applying
You're just
Band-Aids on the
practicing.
sideline, dude. Yeah. No, it was all practice. But he's 7, and then these are technically my cousins.
Your
These are
second
my
cousins once removed or
But
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. But I'm old enough to be uncle now. It's easiest categorization.
Mark, you're an uncle, yeah?
I am, yeah. I've got 3 nibblings.
Nibblings.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Zero Band-Aids in the wallet though. Just to
Sounds
be
No,
clear.
delicious.
that is true.
So he's
I
adding that to the repertoire.
cannot claim to have Band-Aids in my wallet, but I'm going to go to the drugstore right after this
It's
episode.
a hot play. It's a hot play, especially
Are
for
you
the back of your
competing?
heel. Just even personal use, like the back of your heel gets all effed up. You got the Band-Aid in the wallet.
You competing in the uncle games here?
Well, not competing, but you pick up things that you get from other people, and you're like, all right, I can use that. I can use
bro.
that.
Easy, bro. I didn't always use Aquaphor
Yeah.
chapstick until
Now you know.
I saw this one. I never wore Mountain Hardwear jackets until I saw multiple dentists rocking that. There's a message in there. So you pick these things up along the way.
I've been an
episode.
aunt since I was 11 years old, so
Oh, yeah.
I can trounce both of you.
That's
You're
right.
nice with the diapers.
Actually, I don't help those kids at all.
Congratulations.
I don't care.
Yeah, I like your style.
What'd you do this week, Meg?
I stayed indoors. I took my cat to the vet like an auntie.
Yeah.
I ate some food. I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah.
When you're older.
We'll talk about that later.
What about you? What'd you do?
I saw the Led Zeppelin documentary,
Okay.
which
Okay.
was interesting because I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan. It's hard to remove them from classic rock radio
Sure.
and songs you've heard a billion times, but it was cool. It was cool to see them. Like the film's called Becoming Led Zeppelin, so it was cool to see them become Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Sounds gross. I didn't like Led Zeppelin until I was an adult, and it started popping up on like my work YouTube playlist.
Oh yeah, sounds like.
So I was listening to like Pearl Jam or something, and the
Yeah.
algorithm was like, "You may also like Led Zeppelin." And then I started seeing there was a lot of Led Zepp in Pearl Jam,
Yeah,
and the grunge era, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can feel it."
for sure. And it's like really great instrumentalism too, and I think I can kind of grab onto that a little bit more these days than I could when I was a punk kid.
We were too immature.
I could imagine it was fun to see like that era of rock music come up in the documentary too.
Yeah,
And kind of seeing how things take on, mind share like that.
the context of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
There's a
that's
scene
cool.
where they're playing their first arena gig in the States, and people are like, they're literally covering their ears because it's too loud for them.
Oh yeah,
Which I thought was fascinating.
calibration. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, all right, Michael. Let's talk about how would you define Asian verified?
That's a good question. Asian verified. It's cultural anthropology for Asian America. That's how I've landed on it. It used to be reviews that Asian people understand, and it wasn't food reviews that Asian people understand, but it was reviews that Asian people understand. I didn't like this idea of reviewing things, like the unboxing kid on YouTube. So I just like, let's lean into what we're really doing here, which is 2 parts: comedy as a vehicle for helping contextualize and legitimize the Asian American experience for folks who aren't Asian American, but also folks who are trying to navigate that as Asian Americans. So a lot of times I'll talk about the origin story of Asian Verified, which is I was in college. This was probably like 2013. I'm a sophomore, broke as fuck. And I get a coupon in the mail for a buy one, get one free teriyaki bowl from Wawa Grill. All right, $7.99, 2 bowls. This is easy work. I'm working at Disneyland, $9 an hour. It's easy work for me, okay? So, by the way, teriyaki in Southern California for anybody in Washington listen to this, is a fucking catfish, bro. It's a lie.
Yeah.
They say there's Asian people there. You wouldn't know it by the teriyaki spots, dude. So how they do it is they get you a bowl, a white rice bowl. You can actually get brown rice too. They'll put indiscriminate broccoli, carrots, sliced, discs of carrots, and then chopped beef and a shit ton of teriyaki sauce. This is the California experience for teriyaki. So knowing this, I'm walking into Wawa Grill, coupon in hand, ready to get my deal on. As I walk in, there's two white folks sitting next to the door, and this doesn't make me mad, but one of the homies nudges his bro and goes and points at me. He's like, "Hey, I told you this place is legit." Now I wasn't mad. Be clear, I'm not mad about this, but I'm like, no, wait. My presence alone here doesn't unilaterally make this a good spot. Sometimes we're just fucking broke. But sometimes it's just a spot next to my fucking house. I'm not. So that's where I was like, dude. That's where this idea of Asian is 2013. This idea that I was like, oh, dude. This rubric is so fucked up. Who decided that was the rubric? Because I've also been to spots where there's a bunch of Asian people and shit sucks. Two, I've been to spots where there's no Asian people and they would fuck with it, right? Yeah. So I sat on it for like 10 years. And I was like watching these kids get rich off dancing. And I was like, what could I add to this conversation? My career's in social media. Like, what can I add to this conversation? Yeah. Brought this idea of Asian Verified back of the idea is like reclaiming the rubric. And it's not just for Asian people. Obviously, other folks in the world are interested in what Asian people like, but let's define it together. I don't like this idea that Asian people eat there. It's Asian Verified. So how do I make content about this meme? This is the big idea about Asian Verified. This big meme about what does it really mean to be Asian Verified? The easiest way to perpetuate the meme was through the food content. I could go eat. I'm eating 3 times a day already. Why not just go ahead and make these, food videos? Can I make them 10% better than the people making food videos today? I thought so, at least with the comedy, right? So I would go to the food video. I'd go to a spot, and my first spot was a Korean barbecue spot in a food court in South Center. And I was like, is this Asian Verified? I'm showing people how I think about what makes something Asian Verified. You're tiptoeing the line of stereotypes too. So I'm like, look, we got a Korean owner with whole Mexican staff dough. Bang, yummy. You need that points. That's how you should say points. Fountain drink machine out. Refrigerator full of Snapple, points. It's things like this, like masking tape over the prices, it's points. So we're having fun, but also that is the real Asian American experience at a restaurant. So you're kind of giving people parts of the rubric and testing it, throwing out there. Was this my experience? Is this also your experience? And through that, people are able to learn more about the Asian experience. And also expand, this is the last part I'll say about this, expand the mind of an Asian American person for what that means. That was important to me too. It wasn't just so, let me make this rubric for non-Asians, but hey, Asians, like a lot of the things that we think about, people think about us is because we're also perpetuating that. Let's also show more of what we're doing. Come in dad cam, come in sports, come in whatever. Let's show more of what we're doing, but not saying, hey, this is how to accept Asian people. Let's just show it. Let's just do it. So that's Asian Verified.
To your point, you started out in food and now you're expanding much beyond that in other topics.
I think we'll have a lot of fun talking about especially how that kind of came to be. But I started with food. Just to say that again, it was really easy for me to find that vehicle of food to perpetuate this meme of the rubric. I also wanted to do barbershops and nail salons and stuff, but food was so easy. I was already eating more than I needed to get a haircut. So I have an allergic reaction to covering things that everybody's talking about. I just have nothing to add to that convo, and it feels like I'm just trying to add
people
myself to the
know.
attention
They
pool,
already know, and you could be helping someone know something about a place that people don't know about.
And that was the honey hole for the most Asian Verified type of qualifiers. We're looking at okay ratings on the door. That means it's authentically prepared. These are things only Asian people can say, obviously, but people understand and get it. Like, it's fun. We're talking about there needs to be more fake plants than actual plants in the spot. And I wasn't even talking about the food. Really, the food was the last 10 seconds of a 1-minute video. I would say, oh yeah, the banh mi was fucking good too. I'm not trying to act like, and there's a room for this. I wasn't somebody who was an expert in food, but I was an expert in being Asian for 29 years at that juncture, right? And it's easy to talk about food. That's why everybody looks at food content. That's why everybody likes food content, but also why everybody thinks they can make food content, because it seems snackable and easy, just no
Yeah.
pun
Because
intended.
we all have to eat 3 times a
Right.
day. Yeah.
But not everybody
Yeah.
has an opinion worth sharing about it.
True.
Which is what I found out. And also, it's
Yeah.
not fun to talk about food, I found out. So I would be posting about these restaurants. I'm trying to get this meme across subtly, but people are like, oh, you didn't pronounce that right. Or I'm not claiming you as Asian verified because I'm Vietnamese. You ate at a Vietnamese restaurant and didn't do it like I did. I was so fucking tired of dealing with these fucking Asian people, and specifically Asian people, like on my ass about these minutia points when I'm trying. They're obviously missing a big idea here, and whatever.
Yeah.
If you post online, you can get the comments, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's just
So-
the internet
Yeah, it
people.
is.
but I was tired of
Yeah.
it. I was tired, and I was
Sure.
also tired of. This is important to say. The rubric was, is it Asian verified or not? So I would review a restaurant. At the end, I'd give a score, tell you why it's Asian verified, and if it was or not, it's binary. But I knew early on that it would be fun to also, and necessary to do not Asian verified stuff.
Yeah.
So I had zero discretion about small business when I first started. And I would kind of seek out or try to seek out a restaurant that could get a not verified rating, which is a fucking hard job because nobody that wants to spend money on food wants to have a bad fucking experience with the food. Hard to seek out a bad restaurant, honestly.
Yeah.
But, when I found something I didn't like, I won't even mention them on this pod. Those posts are down now. The 2 restaurants that were local to Seattle that I negatively reviewed were the non-verified. I add constructive criticism, but also, who am I to say that you're not fucking Asian? I hated that part. And so both times I did that, the owners would call me, have a honest, real, earnest conversation with me about the business. Starting around then, and feeling disappointed and frustrated with the general foodie community in the city, I was like, okay, I'm done focusing on food content. Start testing other types of comedy about the Asian American experience, building the rubric other ways. It was easy for me to stop doing food content. But people do reach out to me whenever anybody asks me about anything about Asian Verified. It's either recently dad cam, but more likely like, what did you eat? Or like, I went to this spot and blah, blah, blah. I don't even personally think about myself as somebody who makes food content anymore. Or like in my past, like an old career. I don't think about it like that.
my past life.
Yeah, it was it was part of what I was doing, but I always had the same vision in my head about what I was building, and what I create now is the same as what I create back then. People think about me as a foodie, and when I heard that back, I also wanted to stop making food content because I didn't like that moniker.
Well, you were saying earlier, now that you're also a journalist and you're writing for The Stranger, you're planning to cover food content in writing, just not on Asian Verified.
I didn't like the landscape of how people cover food on Instagram. I think it's very vapid.
Yeah.
Everything I saw, this is how I decide, by the way, if you're listening to this, if I saw one of your posts like this is what started me because I saw this and I was tired of it. I was like, I'm tired of seeing fucking sizzle reels of 5-second sizzle reels of the menu, bro. Knowing that they invited you. If you see if you see the whole menu on the fucking table on an Instagram page, somebody was invited, and if they didn't say it, like, you make your decision about who you trust. I've done that before. I don't do it anymore, but I've done that before. Now, I'm tired of these 5-second sizzle reels adding no value to me. Why should I go to the spot? You're not telling me the whole story.
Can you tell us what a sizzle reel is for the audience?
Sizzle reel is like a 5-second bang, 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 bang kind of like highlight reel. So like, again, you know what I'm talking about. Trending audio, all the food on the table, lay down shot, boom,
I hate that
boom,
shot. Yeah.
boom,
That is the
boom.
least useful shot.
Least useful
Here's
shot.
a bunch of circles. Like, I don't know what the fuck is in there.
Exactly. So I was looking at this foodie community saying like, okay, nobody's adding value. Definitely nobody's doing a funny thing. Let me add the funny thing. Let me do the Asian thing. And just going to this, like, you start getting this headspace of like, oh, who's going to invite me to the next opening? This is like sub 5K Asian Verified. If you're a follower, like, this is where we are on the timeline. How can we get invited to the next spot? Oh, this person got invited there. Look at all the food they got. How can I get that? You get into this game thinking you're going to get fed, which is cool. But then what's next? Like, why are you doing that? Like, who are you trying to gain trust from? Like, what is your outcome? I didn't think any of these people had an end game that I wanted to be associated with. That was important. I didn't want to be associated because. Sorry, I get excited about this.
I love it.
We're excited too.
We'll go. I went to this event. I won't mention who, but invited me to this event. There's a number of foodie creators there. that was the last fucking event I would ever go to where there's other influencers. I hated the energy in the room.
Yeah.
Phones out.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what we're here for, to
Yeah.
recover food. But I remember I walked into this spot and I was introducing myself and someone was like, oh, I saw your page, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. I just followed you. Follow me back. And then made me pull out my phone to do it.
Yeah. That's happened to me too. Yeah.
Don't invite me to shit like this anymore. And I'm thankful that you're thankful to be recognized, but you don't.
Sure.
After being in the game, I just felt other. Like I wasn't trying to do the song and dance of I'm trying to get invited to the next spot. Let me get paid by this spot. A lot of money
Yep.
to do nothing for them,
Right.
Yep.
to do a 5-second reel. I hated all of that and anybody who was doing stuff like that. And by the way, not everybody's doing that in Seattle.
Sure.
There's plenty of really high integrity, high quality creators in Seattle. You know
Yeah.
who they are. And for the rest, like that's how I feel about it.
When the content looks like a TGI Fridays commercial, that's when you know you're,
Yeah,
in, a, you're in a
bro.
bad spot.
Yeah, bro, you hear if I gotta hear fucking BTS and Nicki Minaj over 5 plates of fucking Thai food one more time, deleting the app.
All right. Well, I have a question for you, Michael, about content creation itself, because I know a lot of business owners out there are feeling that need. And
You should be.
Video content specifically.
what advice would you give as a content creator
Oh my
yourself?
god,
how
I
to
got
get
one.
started?
Here's the easiest one, guys. It's the lowest hanging fruit. My career is in social media marketing. I don't do it for here locally in Seattle, but my brain's always on and I'm looking at different pages. Can you start fucking posting pictures of your food? Post pictures of your food. Why am I going to your Instagram page and it's 17 like flyers
Yeah.
of events that you somehow got coerced into sponsoring when you
yeah.
should be posting pictures of your food? So start by posting
A
pictures
lot
of
of
food.
times they will have photos of their food and it just looks like dog food. Like they don't know how to photo it.
Right.
They don't know how to light it. They
Right.
don't know how to style it.
That's where I'd.
Yeah.
If you don't have pictures of your food, you don't have a discretion in your mind about how to take good pictures of your food. Cut $400 to get someone to come through.
Yeah.
Give them everything that they could take a picture of.
Totally.
Also, but they'll take the pictures, and you have all these pictures to bank. Start there, okay? There's a lot of restaurants who think about tapping into creators to spread the word. You should be doing that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mix, like as anything in marketing, there's a marketing mix of who should I be inviting as a creator to cover my spot. This is true of new or like dying restaurants. Wherever you are on that spectrum, this is a playbook to play by. You need a mix of those people who populate the feed with more eye candy type of content, those menu sizzle reels. But then you need some hard hitters that give a different angle to your restaurant. Otherwise, you are the same as any other person who has 5 creators coming in posting pictures of crab rangoon, bro. You need to have Tina Thatch come into your spot and talk to you about your immigrant experience so that you can have another, differentiator among people who might relate to that story. Get in the kitchen and show your Salvadorian chef who knows how to make fucking xiaolong bao like a master. Those are the things, right? So just to recite that again. 1, post pictures of food. Hire somebody to take pictures if you don't got them. Think about the content creator mix. You can reach out to any of these folks who have who are posting food content. They want to be reached out by you. Trust me on that. Pick a number of them, maybe 65, 75%, who are just gonna come in and make content quick. These people you don't even need to pay. Like they're happy to get started.
Yeah.
Then also consider 1, 2, or 3 harder hitters. Make your pitch, not just come in and eat. But hey, I'd love to tell my story. I think this is what we're doing special. Here's why. Come in. Those storytellers, that little 25% of content, that's who goes viral. Everybody else gets 2,500 views. These people might get 30, 100K views. The amalgamation of these creates a story of your restaurant. Ask Secret Kanji.
Yeah.
But post food. What the fuck? Even if it looks like my grandma posted it, if it was food, that might be a boon.
It's better than nothing.
It might be
it's
lit that
better
grandma's posting, right? And versus the cousin or the uncle or the nephew.
That is the point that I think we've made to some people that we've talked to before too. Is if you are just yourself on video and you're just sort of like, I'm a little awkward. I don't know. It's fine. That's kind of cute.
Oh,
Honestly,
absolutely.
Sure. It's still a human
Absolutely.
interest story.
yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're running a business, you have a family, like you don't need another thing to think about. If social media is not
Totally.
part of your playbook,
Yeah.
you definitely got a kid or
You got a nephew.
You got a nephew.
Or a niece.
You got somebody in your family who is nice with this and you can pay in egg rolls or rides to his game. I don't know. Use your leverage. You're a business owner, but it doesn't need to be you. Don't let it pass you by. You got to put yourself in a position to win. Get your nephew on the case.
Put yourself in a position to win. Restaurant owners.
Yeah, if you're not, and I just say this again, I know from talking with owners that marketing is, any owner of any business, marketing is the last thing sometimes you're thinking about. Your core competency is the food and the hospitality.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when you got to believe yourself that that's not your core competency. Don't do it yourself and go ask your niece or nephew.
Mark, shall we do the news?
Meg, I think the first item is one you should take because you already reported on it.
Oh, yeah. Everybody quit at Canlis. Not everybody.
Yeah.
That's the
Aisha
headline.
Abraham put in her notice. She's the executive chef at Canlis. She'll be there for another month and a half, something like that, and she's going to move on. She's taking her partner, Samantha Baird, who's the Sue there, and they're going to move on. They're thinking about LA or New York, something more Michelin-y since they don't play that game here in Seattle. And also Brian Canlis, who's the grandson of Peter Canlis, who opened it originally. He's moving on to Nashville as well. So I believe Mark Canlis, the other brother, and his wife are going to be running the show.
Oh,
And
so there still is Canlis on the team.
There's still Canlis on the team, and they're looking for a new exec chef.
I commented.
If
You'll
anyone
see my
wants
name
to
under
be
the
it.
post. You'll see my name under there. So
You're the next chef at Canlis.
I raise my hand.
I grew up 3 blocks from Canlis on the highway in Queen
All right,
Anne, and
wow.
I didn't go there till I was 40 years old or something because it
Was it
cost
worth the wait?
$400. Yeah, it was nice, but you know what I realized, and I'm not telling anyone to do this. You can just drop into the bar. You don't have to sit down for the whole service.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah.
more frequently and more recently, I just go to the bar and listen to the piano
That's beautiful.
and get a glass of wine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting thing that they've kind of gone through more chefs lately than they have in the entirety of their history.
I wasn't going to
Yeah,
say
for-
it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I just think
There's
that's
a turnover.
It's not really a giant turnover. It's just more in line with the turnover you see at most restaurants in
That's
that
fair.
sphere these days.
That's true.
And I just took it upon myself to look up the history of chefs there because I was curious about
Yeah.
it. So they started with Joe Ching in 1950, and
Okay.
he stayed there until 1980. So
Oh, wow.
the same executive chef,
Okay.
30 years. And he was succeeded by Rocky Toguchi from 1980 to 1997.
Okay.
And then Greg Atkinson from 1998 to 2002. It was sort of a transitional time.
That's a shorty, yeah.
When he was hired on as a consultant at first, just to
Okay.
kind of figure out how to modernize, from this kind of mid-century menu. And then they switched there from Aaron Wright, 2002, 2008, and Jason Franey, 2008 to 14.
Okay.
And he's the first one who left because there wasn't a Michelin star opportunity.
Yeah.
And I found this very interesting. And then,
Foreshadowing.
yeah, of course, we got
Presaging.
Brady Williams, 2015 to 2021, and then Aisha after that.
Okay.
And we got a new
Did
one.
I
then.
hear that? 2 Asian guys to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. So the family lived in Hawaii for a while, and they showed up when they opened. They had a Japanese influence for sure.
Oh, okay.
The server staff used to be women in kimonos
Oh, wow.
until the
Yeah.
90s.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
So this real kind of
And the menu still
That's
has
funny.
Asian influence, of course, because Aisha is Filipino as well. So
How cool is that? I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I really could be the A.
you can. It's you. You're
I'm on,
mine.
I'm on the list somehow.
Yeah.
get in there, Michael.
Now, let me ask you guys this. What type of chef would make you guys bullish for the future of Canlis at this point?
I like that they had a woman,
Right?
and I like that they had a LGBTQ chef,
Sure.
first time ever. That's exciting. I hope it paves the way for the future at Canlis. I hope it's not another white guy, frankly.
Sure. At this point, not even another Asian guy. Let's do something different.
Yeah. And I personally, I would love that too. And I would like it to be someone whose goal was to be the chef at Canlis and who isn't
Yeah.
going to
Cool.
leave
And
to
someone who's-
chase a Michelin star.
I love that idea.
Sure.
Cool.
And
That's
who cares
cool.
about Seattle
Yeah.
culinary history?
I'm sure Mark Canlis is going to make the right hire. He doesn't need
Sure.
me to advise, but that's what I would like to see. I just think it'd be cool to get back to that stability
so
that they
cool.
used to have and that sort of legacy.
What else happened?
All right. Well, here's a sad piece of news, and then we'll move on from the sad part. Shelley Brothers, co-owner of Wild Rose Bar, has passed away at the age of 67. She is a very huge pillar of the community, and this has been reported by pretty much every news outlet, which goes to show how much of a pillar
She's
she
an icon.
was.
She was always there. She
Yeah.
was always just chilling in the doorway. Yeah.
Exactly. You would see her walking by anytime. And I think their Instagram put it best. It said, a pillar of Seattle's LGBTQIA plus community. Shelley was a force, an icon, and a protector. Her impact is immeasurable, and her absence leaves a void that can never truly be filled. but her love, her kindness, and her unwavering commitment to this community will live on. So Wild Rose is going to have a celebration of her life on February 16th from 2 p.m. to
Great.
9 p.m. So if that is your community, swing by.
That's more Seattle history as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an historic
Yeah.
Seattle institution. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to some opening news. We
Yeah.
got a lot of openings this week. First and foremost, Outsider Barbecue and Beer Garden has opened up in Freelard in the former Freelard Pizza space.
Was he a truck?
He was sort of a pop-up.
He was
It
a
wasn't
pop-up,
a truck
okay.
per se, but he would set up at Fair Isle and different breweries around town.
Michael, you know this guy?
No, I'm not familiar.
His name is Oner, and he's from Istanbul. And then he immigrated to Austin, Texas, where he
Oh my
learned
gosh.
Texas barbecue.
Awesome.
That's
And
sick.
then he moved up here and started doing some pop-ups, doing Texas-style barbecue with some Turkish-influenced sides.
Wow.
So I went to the opening.
Yeah, you and Harry went on
yeah,
Friday.
Yeah, so he gave us this whole spread, and there were things like roasted lamb leg shredded with an eggplant puree
Hell yeah.
on top. So
I
that's
always
sort
want
of the-
lamb in anything. That's
Whoa.
exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the Turkish influence. He had gorgeous brisket. That was
love a
just so
brisket.
tender, and it had the shimmer you want to see out
Sliced
of the brisket.
brisket.
The meat rainbow.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, very killer.
Yes, right.
Texas sausage to add cheese and some chilies in it.
Hell yeah.
Run this back, Mark. What is this?
This is Outsider Barbecue and Beer Garden in Freelard.
So it's right next to Hamdi. So there's two Turkish
Yeah.
spots right next to each other in the old
sick.
Freelard Pizza.
Oh, I know
yeah.
exactly where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Leary.
cool.
Yeah, I'm down for a Turkish district. Let's have someone
The
take over the
Turked.
Hales
Hell
space
yeah,
too and
bro.
do some Turkish stuff there.
Bring the hair
Turk
transplants
Town.
too, bro. I don't
Yeah.
need to take a flight, man. Let's do it.
Turkey
I'll
Town.
pull up.
And so they're going to be open Thursday through Sunday to start with, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, they're gonna be busy.
I want
I
it.
think so, yeah.
And then reopening in Shoreline,
Mm-hmm.
in the Ridgecrest part of Shoreline is Drumlin,
Yeah.
which previously was just sort of like a beer tap room spot, and now
Yeah.
they've brought in fancy food. And Mark and I hit it the other day. It is Zephyr Paquette is. I thought she was the chef, but I guess she turned out to be the GM now. But she
seemed-
still was behind the menu design and the cocktails, right?
Yeah, see, she was saying she was doing triple duty.
Yeah.
GM crafted the cocktail menu and I think developed the food menu too.
Right.
Does that sound right?
Right, but she's not the chef,
But she's
so she's
not.
not actually cooking it.
Yeah, real cool
She's
person.
a legend as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
From Cafe Flora, Terra Plata, she had her own spot
Everywhere.
called Le Petit Paquet.
And then Skelly and the Bean for a while.
That's
up
right.
in,
She's been around for
Capitol
what, 20,
Hill.
30
Wow,
years.
everywhere.
She's
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's back open, and we'll talk about it more in Thanks I Ate It, because we ate it.
That we
You
will.
went there last
We
week.
went, believe
Yeah.
it.
This lady Megan sitting in front of me goes from Tacoma to Linwood to eat.
There's a train. It's nice. It's like
Oh,
you
yeah,
can be
that's
like a little
nice.
French girl. And
That's
just,
true.
There's a table and there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, little soundtrack going. Oh, I like that. I like that. Try
Yeah,
that one
we
day.
got to
accordion
expand the train operating hours. That's
That's true.
It's a
It's
great
because they're
thing.
fighting with BSNF railroads because
Yeah.
they own the railroad.
Beef.
So they have to rent it.
Yep. All right, another opening is Parlor in Pioneer Square.
Ooh, I don't know about this.
So this is an all-day cafe and wine bar / bottle shop featuring natural wines by the glass. They're serving Stamp Act coffee, small
With
plates.
snake on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. With small plates, local beer, and pastries from Pufftown Bakehouse.
Oh, we talked about them last week.
Yeah, and so they are open right now, Monday through Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then Wednesday through Saturday, they are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Where is it?
It is on Yesler Way.
I want to go.
And then final opening news here. Mexican Soul opened at Project 9 Brewing. Now, I am very interested in this place. Michael, you know about this place?
No, tell me more.
So it is Mexican-Korean fusion tacos, that's not the
Roy
newest.
Choi,
It's
yeah.
not the newest
Yep.
thing. But what they are doing that is new is they're hitting bulgogi,
Okay.
pork bulgogi on a trompo, and
Oh, shit.
slicing it up like al pastor.
No, fuck.
Yeah.
With the pineapple on top?
So
Hey.
they're calling it al pascor for a Korean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
And
the camel case with a capital K in the middle.
yeah,
Whoa.
I want it. I want it. It sounds great. I haven't gotten over there
Oh,
yet.
I'm writing this down, bro.
Where
Did
is
you
it?
say it was?
It is in Project 9 Brewing, which is kind of in that area between Roosevelt where it kind of intersects a Lake City Way. There's
Okay.
that Zina Mediterranean restaurant over on the corner. It's kind of this convergence zone of Maple Leaf, Roosevelt, and kind of like when you're kind of going down to Lake
Weird
City Way.
spot.
Into it.
Okay.
I
Well,
want
we'll
it.
take it. We'll take it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've taken over that place. Sandwich, I think, was their beforehand at Project 9, and
Right.
people were really excited about that place. It came out of Portland, left
And
suddenly.
it tanked, yeah.
I think that's a great replacement. I can't wait to try it.
That's crazy.
I'm like looking
bro.
up where it is on my phone right now because I must have it.
It's open now.
It is open now. Yes.
Bro, somebody's gonna make a video about the bulgogi on the trompo, and
It's gonna be
someone
you.
named
it's gonna
Michael.
be- am I- at this
like I
point,
know
I'm
that
in
guy.
no rush, but yeah, if I would like to be,
You're
but
gonna head over there right away.
I will share it. Whoever, but the first one I see, I will share. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Let's all
Yeah.
go.
That'd be sick.
Meg, did you have any more opening news?
The only other thing I have that you guys may not give a shit about is that Barbachetto opened again in Walla Walla, in Waitsburg, actually. And that's the dude from Il Nido.
Oh, no
Mike
kidding.
Easton,
Yeah, El
and formerly
Corvo
Il
gang.
Corvo, yeah.
Right,
he's
right around
in,
here. Yeah.
He's in Waitsburg, which is about 15, 20 miles north of Walla Walla. And it was Detroit style pizza for a minute. And word on the scene is that it is now Barbachetto again. I've been dying to eat it. I have a bunch of Barbachetto pasta, like dry pasta that
no
it was
kidding.
gifted to me, and it's the best pasta I've ever had.
Wow.
So I wanna road trip out there now that they're back open.
Yeah, Seattle legend.
Sounds good.
Open
Seattle
up in
legend,
Yakima.
many-time James Beard nominated chef Mike Easton,
Cool.
open for biz.
Mikey Easton.
All right. Well, Michael, I have a question for you for
up?
part 2 here. What would you think if someone called you an influencer?
What would you do?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's almost like I mean that's I think there's like a humility of I try to afford to it all just because it's a weird thing to have followers. But yeah, like I think it's just a played out term, and that's just my own opinion about it. But if that's how someone wants to call it, that's easy.
See style as a content creator instead.
I just don't like that one either.
I
'cause-
know, right?
Yeah,
You
when
know
you
what?
ideas.
I'll tell you why. This is funny. I didn't know this, but as I continue to watch as much YouTube as I watch, I've learned that people, when you say content creator, the connotation these days is OnlyFans.
Oh, shit, really?
Yes, especially when, of course,
That makes sense.
Yeah, so
Oh, no.
so I don't, and that's not why I have a
Sure.
but that is quite literally what I do. I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we'll see what one day this cultural anthropologist type shit might stick. But for
I
now,
love that.
Yeah, for now,
I
what
like
does that even
that.
mean, right?
Very
For
classy.
now, yeah, for now I create content.
Are you a
I'm a
vlogger?
commentator. I prefer commentator. That's the one I
Commentator,
gave
yeah, that's cool.
recently. Which is also what the fuck does that mean? But yeah, so
Do you have a selfie stick?
I don't have I have a
Yeah.
number of tripods that I use as selfie sticks, but
Yeah.
Say that's
I guess that
why.
would make me an influencer, huh?
What's
That's
your
what-
gear like?
My setup is
Yeah.
I have a pretty easy build out. It's an iPhone 15 Pro
Okay.
Max. Here's the story. Like I have a DJI Pocket 3 Osmo, which I've been building out low key, but I don't want to be out in the field with a camera, outside with a camera.
Yeah.
Because that kind of takes away from what I want to do. What is it that I want to do? I just trying to capture something more authentically. It's not that deep also, but
Yeah.
like,
Well, you're
as
just
soon as
trying not to be conspicuous, right?
Right. As soon as the camera comes out, everybody's like, what's the camera for? Even if
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
something trying to be secretive.
Right.
So while the Pocket Osmo 3 is hella small and easy, actually I use it for filming me now at home. But yeah, outside, out and about, boom, phone. It's just way too easy.
Yeah.
And also that's what looks good on Instagram. So
Yeah.
the moment you start having high powered camera, high quality stuff on the timeline, your brain has an uncanny valley. Like that doesn't match here. So like it's just too nice. Like, so there's a thing to think about. Like having it look like the medium is important.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you use software-wise to edit?
CapCut. So
You use CapCut.
yeah, and I know I'm proficient with Premiere, but CapCut's so easy. So
Yeah.
one thing I used to pride myself over when I had food as my beat was I would go to a restaurant and I knew that people would get invited to restaurants and take 2 days a week to post a video. Bruh, I would have that video before I got fucking home. I was editing, sorry everybody, I was editing that shit on CapCut. As I drove home, I was doing voiceovers as I was going home to just shit on you all because I was embarrassed that you guys would take the time to
Yeah.
make the entire kitchen build this shit out and take a week to post a 5-second fucking sizzle. So yeah. So
Roasted.
CapCut is the answer. That was my answer for the CapCut. So when CapCut was potentially going down with TikTok, yeah, I don't know. I fielded a number of prayers with God that night, but we were able to stay alive, and it's just too easy.
Yeah.
It's just too easy.
What
So
will you switch to if it does go away?
I'll go back to Premiere,
Yeah.
Premiere.
which is it's like fucking coding every time you want to change a frame. But I'm down. If that's what it's gonna take, I'm down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
CapCut's too easy.
Yeah. Well,
This is also true for anybody do what's the easiest thing, dude. If you have no followers, why are you worried? Nobody's watching, right?
Nobody asked you.
So just fucking make what looks good to you, and then you'll get better at it later.
Yeah, put something out. Well, you've also answered my sort of thought of like, why is everyone such a terrible driver these days? They're editing
They're
videos.
editing, bro.
CapCut.
Yeah, it's because we're
They're
editing,
influencers. I'm sorry, content creators. I'm sorry, OnlyFans.
That's why Mark's on the bus now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's
Exactly.
not fucking around with that shit.
I am not.
I have a question about, and I've tried to make videos before and I decided I fucking hated it, so I
Yeah.
don't do it anymore. What is the ethics of filming people in public? And how do you feel about that?
That one's interesting. So
Yeah, I struggle with it.
I have one thing to contextualize this. There's a creator, filmmaker that I really like. Maybe we've seen his work on HBO. His show is Nathan For You.
Yeah.
I really, really, really like how he does stuff. And I try to incorporate some of the ideas and stuff I've been making lately, but I don't think Nathan For You gets clearance for everything he does. And that's not I'm not trying to compare myself, but I'm thinking about this as I go out into the world.
Sure.
And I shoot this video series called Dad Cam, which is usually like a composition of 4 pictures of people I see at Costco or something. And I do, at the outset, I was getting this question like, what are the ethics of filming people in public? The ethics is I will remove it if somebody wants me to remove it immediately. Okay. Also, I'm not making fun of anybody in the videos. Like, we're having fun. It's wholesome and
it's loving.
Right. So if you're going to take videos, even if you're not doing a Asian dad game, if you're just out in public for a restaurant, I think we all have a social contract that we're outside in public, we're in public. But if you're trying to make money and exploit people that are in the video, then you're airing in different territories. And every time I've ever got a comment about, oh, are you filming these people with their permission? My answer generally is I will remove anything anybody doesn't like if the videos are in there.
Do you think other influencers have ethics about it? Do you think they consider it? Like, because we said earlier, there's good influencers that we support, and there's some that are maybe perhaps less moral.
High integrity,
ethical.
low integrity influencers. Exactly. And, honestly, I don't in the influencers we talk about, maybe you're thinking about in the context of this podcast, I don't think people think about other people in the videos as much. They don't care. And it doesn't matter. Like in the restaurant situation, I get that it's uncomfortable, but people are taking birthday pics all the time. Like it just happens. So I think there's, again, the social agreement. If we're in public, like you should consider something, but like there are venues where that's not okay. But for restaurants, I think it's okay.
I'm thinking about Keith Lee now. And what the ethics are of filming something when you're not totally sure what you're filming.
There's
right? Like he didn't know that there was an issue. So for the background, if anyone doesn't know, Keith Lee is an influencer who reviewed FOB sushi and held up a piece of sushi, and unbeknownst to him, to the viewer's eye, but not to his eye, it looked to some as though there was a worm or some movement.
There was some movement
in the sushi. And so many people said this place had worms in their fish. And then they shut down for a week, and it was a big disaster. Longer than that,
Yeah. So ethics in creators and influencers should have ethics, and outside the context of our people in the video.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about what I think are the ethics of somebody that has a following. And that doesn't mean anybody making content. That doesn't even make if you have
a platform.
A platform with an audience of people who would do something that you ask or like suggest.
Yeah.
Or is influenced by you.
Right. There's absolutely there's a whole set of ethics that go with that. And I'll start to talk about it now. Like I started articulating this in my own mind when I had those calls from the owners of those restaurants that I said were not Asian verified. And I was like, what am I fucking getting out of this actually? By making a controversial type of review.
Right.
They do go well. On social media, they do well.
Yeah.
So there's one reason to do it. What are the other reasons? You're not really getting across the constructive criticism you want, because why did you do it in this venue? That's not the venue to offer that kind of criticism.
Exactly.
If you really thought that the service wasn't good and the food needed help, that wasn't the way to do it.
You'd write them a note.
Awesome.
Privately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The same app you used to fucking post this video, you could have also hit the owner up.
Yeah, totally.
So this is especially true when you have followers. If you've taken an hour with any small business owner, you would they would all change the tune. The type of
For sure.
the type of food influencers that would be happy to be. Oh, this is the phrase, like no BS, like real honest reviews. That's the bio. That's the bio, right?
So
like,
much.
dude, you know how easy it is to be fucking negative about food?
Shitty,
Ask my mom, bro.
Yeah.
She does it all the fucking time. There's never been a restaurant she liked 100%, bro. She finds a reason. We all know that it's so easy to be a hater, dude.
Yeah.
And
It's not
actually,
journalism, and you're not helping the industry. You don't love the industry.
and
You just
neither is
wanna
a
be
sizzle reel, right? So
fucking
there's
shitty. Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides of that. There's like,
Yeah.
as Meg's saying, like there's it's not good journalism to just shit on something. It's not good journalism to just promote something blindly. So this is where I've been thinking about this more. I think if you're gonna be in the review business, you should be thorough.
Yeah.
Thorough
Yeah.
and like holistic. And that's where I think Keith Lee, that's the problem with his videos. And I want to be clear, don't have a problem with the dude at all.
Yeah.
I don't really watch his videos
No.
because why the fuck am I watching a sushi review in Nashville, bro?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't live there. I don't understand. That's important though.
Yeah.
Because when he came to FOB,
Yeah.
and there's so-called FOB or Keith Lee effect, right? People sell out these
People
restaurants.
talk about this all
There's
the
more
time.
to say about that, if that's good or not. But just saying that I went to FOB, it was cool, whatever. It's a worm. Is that a worm, right? When that conversation started, his followers en masse almost ruined the fucking lives
Yeah.
of these business owners in a city that they would never, maybe ever in their fucking life go to.
Yeah,
Right,
right. They don't
right.
live
Let's
here.
think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
No.
Hey, you person listening that didn't have anything to say about this, is that fucking cool to you that this dude from another city has followers all from another cities going to local businesses that you might fuck with in your city and shutting them down? Literally, they were down for over a month.
Yeah.
And
It was heartbreaking.
it's dude, this is people's fucking jobs,
Yeah.
not let alone $500,000 to open the business, bro.
But for what someone thought they saw from across the country.
And so, yes. So that's to say low effort content will get you low effort followers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you are making this really like kind of almost bullshit,
Yeah.
people like Keith Lee because they wish they could be famous for doing that. Not
Right.
because they really like what he does.
Exactly.
And again, not too much on Keith. Like he's doing what he's
It's
doing.
fine.
I'm
Yeah.
really talking about
I'll call it bullshit.
your followers.
I think he's bullshit. Straight
He's
up.
not thoughtful.
No.
I don't think he's thoughtful. At all.
Zero
He's not,
thought.
there's no thorough.
It's-
It's not thorough.
It's fast food. It's just like simple.
Yeah.
Here is what I'm eating. It's good or it's bad.
This guy was on the fucking red carpet at the Grammys for eating in his
Ridiculous.
Hyundai, bro. And again, that's because the followers push him up and also move like a fucking mob.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I have to say. So to bring this back to Keith, what's your responsibility in this? I think it's to look, if you didn't know what happened with, this is actually the story. So like he eats the sushi. Is that a worm? Is that a bonito flake? We don't know. There's movement though.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, there's movement.
Yes.
And he circles back like half a week later and is like, hey guys, people got sick. I got sick.
That's what I had a problem with.
Yes.
I
That-
got
this is-
sick and I'm not making any comments about FOB, but people got sick and make your judgment.
Not helpful.
Dude.
Like, do your research if you have the
Yeah.
platform.
Bro, what the fuck did you think that was in to say? Okay, now what's the purpose of that post? To save
Right.
your ass? Like,
Yeah, this is the problem I had with him. The thing that he said was he cited some nebulous post that someone made that they got food poisoning a couple hours after eating at FOB.
Right.
That's not how food poisoning
not
it's
how it
works.
works.
it's also not how worms work in sushi when you freeze it.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, but yes.
Well, exactly.
Right.
But
Right.
that's
If it was flash frozen, then
Which
there are
it
no
was.
moving worms.
That's right.
Which it has to be legally.
yeah, that's not how food poisoning works. It takes longer for that to gestate.
Naomi
Yeah, 2 hours, bro.
Naomi Tomke at Seattle Met explained. She's like, I've had food poisoning, and here's how it works.
Yeah. Yep.
And she had a pretty cogent and helpful
Yeah.
explanation of how that works and how E. coli works.
It
Right.
is.
I liked her response.
It is extremely difficult generally to pinpoint the source of food poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can really do it is en masse from a plurality of people.
Right.
So I mean, I've had experiences of making that mistake myself. Like back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I ate at a taco truck and I got some shrimp and I got sick later. I thought, oh, it must have been the one time I ever got shrimp at this taco truck. And it was something else.
Right,
And,
Yeah.
for
and I
sure.
only discovered that because it was an event that happened with multiple people. But
That's a perfect example of why I found his response disappointing. It just wasn't thoughtful. He didn't do research. That's why there's a difference between journalism and being an influencer.
Yeah, you said it. And we talked about high integrity, low integrity.
Yep.
And this is not really criticism, more than an observation, but I would plot Keith on the lower integrity, because if you were high integrity, you would
care.
Why do people? Yes, people like Keith because of look how he helped these businesses. Like almost like they think he's Guy Fieri. Like look how he helped this business and like the sustained growth. No, that growth only happened for 2 weeks. Everybody who went during that 2 weeks had a bad experience because his business is not ready for that. And you also are hurting businesses on the inverse, and people don't like to talk about that part. Only because your review is so like a vignette of anybody's experience at any spot.
It's literally one bite. It's myopic.
one bite.
It couldn't be anything but.
And
you make a strong point that often restaurants aren't ready for an influx just to be totally inundated.
I've had the good fortune of helping a restaurant have a week like that or months like that, actually. And I felt bad. So like I put this restaurant on, my favorite, just say it again, my favorite fried rice experience in the world is in Kent, Washington at Green Valley Restaurant.
Okay. That whole strip mall is fantastic.
See, fucking
they've got Venezuelan food. They have that place
Big
is a spot.
Boys and that
yeah,
Thai
the Big
spot.
Boys kind of,
Yeah, so
I love that place.
So I put this video on, and literally for over 3 months, the spot is sold out every day. This is an amazing experience from a creator standpoint. But I'm hearing these comments like, oh, the food wasn't good. I waited 2.5 hours also. I've never waited more than 10 minutes at this spot. People are waiting. It's such a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
Blows my mind that there's a 2.5 fucking hour wait at the strip mall in Kent. And they still waited for it, which, geez, I'm so thankful for. I know I wouldn't either. And that, the quality was all over the page. How could it not be? Her fucking son is working in there like a Popeyes chef during their sandwich craze, bro. It was tough. So I've had that. I've had intimate experience talking to her in the aftermath of that, to know that like, oh, you got to be careful with if you have influence. I'm talking 50,000 followers at the time. This guy got how many millions of subscribers, bro? So it's an ebb and flow. And the big question is it really helping when you do it that way? Or when you, like I said earlier, you got to find that mix of people who will help tell your story.
Yeah.
Because I would have slotted Keith in that fucking big mix of quick hits.
Yeah.
Like just people need to see you, but then you need the storytellers to really drive the story home. I wouldn't put Keith in that, right? You can't. So
what about influencers or content creators who will post like a list of things they hated the most?
Oh, so I like punching up. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like if it's even Ethan Stowell at this point is like punching up technically, but like what some folks do in the city, they have no issue doing that I hate list. And they'll post that list 3 months after you open, bro. Send it to the fucking guy.
Yeah, just send it.
How hard is that? How hard is it to not post that?
Well, also the ethics of just deciding here are the 20 worst fried chicken that I had in Washington State. There's these clowns in Tacoma, Justin and Christina, who are just starting shit.
Oh yeah, they deleted my comment on their post.
What is the value of talking about the shit that you hated the most?
You get views.
Why
dude.
are you doing that? Like,
you
what fucking hate do you have in your heart where you're like, I didn't like this food, so I'm going to go out of my way to tell people how much it sucked. Like, just don't. There's so many businesses that you could be lifting up. If you are indeed a food writer, a food journalist, you're researching places, you're going to places all the time. You don't need to do that. It's just, it comes from a shitty place.
It comes from a place of like, and really only new people do it, or people that have like been comfortable in growing by doing that content.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it helps your audience understand you have discretion in this space. Those type of people, that couple you're talking about, might have the same type of reaction I had to the food and review industry of like, this is so vapid and like you guys are not our BS. Like you're not advocating for customers. Like we spend our hard-earned money. This is the kind of position they would take. Now on the outside of that, if you want infatuation, listen to me. If you want restaurants to review in the fucking city, change the way you do it. Because if you keep going down the road you're going, there will be no more restaurants in this city to review. And I wholeheartedly feel that about any creator who thinks about posting a negative review of a small restaurant, unless it's the most hyped restaurant like of the last year and too many people are going, add your 2 cents. Otherwise, you don't have anything to gain if you have an audience, bro. If you're just posting for your friends, fucking go ahead. But there's a responsibility if you have a platform to have discretion about the way you offer this kind of criticism. And oftentimes it's not framed in a thoughtful way.
The Infatuation has an interesting and unique model in that they are ranking restaurants against each other. So it's like the Olympics where, so-and-so gets a 9.6 and so-and-so gets an 8.7.
Yeah.
And I don't know of another spot that rolls that way.
Pitchfork Media.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's the 100-point scale, which doesn't make sense to my brain.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with, how did you decide that this gets a 7.8, not a 7.7?
Exactly.
Maybe that was just like the bonito flake didn't move.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And
dude.
a lot of it is just left up to chance and luck. I don't think it's useful.
You know who's doing a good job?
Who?
Let me shout somebody else who's doing a good job. It's almost taking the format of Infatuations. PAO Seattle. PAO Seattle.
Okay.
Your team is doing a great job. It's almost, I hate saying this because anything to old people is Gen Z, but it's a Gen Z team of like almost college or college grad aged women that I've seen primarily, and they show you what's fun in the city. So which is what Infatuation was until they're like, let me show you that we have opinions. So yeah, I mean, it's not that you guys have opinions, it's the way you frame them, but yeah.
Sure.
I also really enjoy Erica Taste Test. I think she does a great job.
Erica is wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's your neck of the woods. So she plugs you with everything.
Yeah. I really enjoy what she has to say. She picks cool spots.
Yep.
She informs where I want to go. We're trying to go to Steven and Sons, which is Samoan food in Fife.
Yeah.
I was trying to do that on Saturday and I didn't make it, but like I went and rewatched the video that she made. So
she does a super job.
Yeah, I enjoy her.
Of the type of people who will show you what to eat next without a whole story and dance or anything. Like Erica is pretty goated for that. Yeah.
I think Dylan Eats Everything does a good job of telling people's stories.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and a very high production value. He's one of those dudes that'll bring like the whole camera.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating everything, should we talk about Thanks I Ate It?
It's time for Thanks I Ate It.
Yeah, what'd you eat?
Best bites we had this week.
Yep.
Well, I mentioned Outsider Barbecue, and that I think I just kind of wanted to highlight a little bit more of that because
Please talk about
there was this corn they had there that it was so like incredibly cheesy and great. I think it was the best side they had. I guess I already shouted out the brisket and the sausage.
Are the meats tasting Turkish as well?
No,
Okay,
it's very much a Texas approach. So it is. I think he's just seasoning it with salt and smoke, just salt and smoke, and he's got barbecue sauce, and it does the thing I want barbecue to do, which is create a conundrum.
Oh,
which is that the barbecue sauce is really good and I want to use it, but the meat is also really good and it doesn't need it.
That's cool,
right? So
yeah,
what
that's
do
exactly
I do?
What it needs.
That's the conundrum you want, and that's what we got there.
That's really cool.
And that was free food, but it was good, so I'm going to talk about it. If it
Yeah,
wasn't
heck
good, I'd be like,
It doesn't matter,
That's a great point, though. If you don't like it, just don't talk about it,
exactly.
bro.
Yeah,
and do you know how
go
often
again.
Mark and I just don't talk about it when we don't like it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's frustrating because I never will walk into a spot. Sorry to get back on the old topic, but I'll never walk into a spot without my wallet. I'm never going to roll up and be like, I assume this is free. And sometimes, very recently, we'll go to events, we'll be invited, and it's not free.
Yeah.
And it costs $125, and it's like you have to be prepared for that.
Oh, absolutely.
But when it comes time to pay and someone has discounted your bill or comped it, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, no, I could never accept. That's rude, too. Someone's trying to give you a gift. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to automatically review it as positive.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be honest, whether it's comped or not. It doesn't matter.
Oh, can I say something about that?
Yeah.
That is, so when you start out as a food creator, if you do well, you start to get invited to these restaurants and they put all the food on the table, and that's really special and cool. Potentially gets old after a while because you can literally not eat all that food in the amount of time that it would.
Yeah, right. It's too much.
What started making me so happy and like heartwarmed was when I was going to restaurants on my own accord, paying for the meal, but chef would send me something like a plate
A
or
little
something.
bite, yeah.
Dude, that means so much more to me than any invite for a full menu on the table could ever mean to me.
It's so sweet.
And I think people like in our game could understand that a little differently, but like it means a lot.
That happened recently at
means a
Lennox
lot.
when they sent over the pescado, and it was so good, but we hadn't ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And chef was like, "Oh, but I think you'll really like this."
That's the best.
Yeah.
It's so, and so if you're a food influencer, endeavor for that. Don't endeavor for the free plates. Endeavor for the relationships you have with folks.
You want a personal relationship, exactly.
and that they like you enough to hook you up with a
And
plate
if that's not why
sometimes.
you're in the game, then fuck you.
Yeah,
Like, why are you?
what are you doing, man?
And
Yeah.
also don't expect it too, because that was during your birthday, and we actually
It was,
told,
yeah.
so sweet.
we told the service, we didn't order this one.
Oh,
and
you guys are funny.
Yeah, because I didn't get it.
You guys are sweet.
the
Yeah.
service, this is a gift from
It was
chef.
so good, that pescado at Lennox. You got to get it.
Yeah, it was the straight up fish in a coconut barley sort of side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just really big flakes, really tender. It was lovely.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
wow.
fantastic.
What else did we eat? I went to Buddy's Chicken and Waffles finally.
Where's
Finally,
that?
you've been meaning to go there
I've been
forever.
meaning to go over there forever, and I'm so sorry, Buddy. I talk to Buddy online sometimes. We're online pals. I shied away from it because I don't do sugar a lot.
yeah.
The pictures of the waffles were pretty heavy on the sugar. And another thing you learn as a food writer is not every food is for you, and that's okay.
Sure,
like
yeah.
if I don't personally like that, I'm not mad at it. It's because it's very popular. People are excited. So my partner Steven was just like, let's get some fried chicken, and we talked about a few different spots. We were going to go to Tea House in BNI Marketplace, thanks to Erica, because people were talking about she needs to
That's
get
the
the garlic
spot.
chicken. We almost went there, but instead we went to Buddy's, and it was fantastic.
Oh, you liked it?
Yeah,
Great.
so they do tenders, and they're very large. They don't do on the bone, and it's halal, so it's high quality chicken. And they do spicy and regular, like a Nashville style hot chicken spicy. And then I got the cornbread waffle because
That's the one.
I didn't want a super sweet waffle, which they have. So it was
Yeah,
great.
that
And it
sounds
was lovely.
good.
I really enjoyed it. And then Steven got the chicken sandwich, and he has a lot of opinions on what makes a good fried chicken sandwich. And he was like, you don't want to fight with it. You don't want it to snap back. You don't want to trying to
Yeah.
bite it with your molars. You want it to release,
Yeah.
right?
that's
And
true.
to not be dry. And he thought it was perfect.
Oh, wow. Where's the spot?
Yeah.
Tacoma?
It's in Tacoma.
Yeah.
It's in Lincoln
cool.
in the, I guess, I don't want to say Chinatown because it's like,
the
it's
the
Vietnam
Asian
town. Yeah.
district vibes.
It's mostly
yeah.
Vietnamese there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I had Karuna Long's burger
Oh, God
at
damn it. I
Lil
gotta eat
Woody's.
that. Shit.
Yeah, this week.
One more day. Yeah.
So Little Woody's is doing my favorite thing that they do, which is
Chef's
Burger
Month.
Month with
Yeah.
chefs. And so each week is a different local chef. And this week was Karuna, and his burger was the Cambo Diaspora Burger.
Yep.
It is 2 patties marinated in krung paste. And krung is sort of a Cambodian curry paste. He's also got a krung aioli on it.
Yeah, that stuff looks good.
And I think a tomato relish as well.
I think
and
that's right. And American
pickle,
cheese.
American cheese,
Has to be.
He
importantly.
said for the diaspora Cambo kids.
Very important. I'm going to throw down that American cheese is my favorite burger cheese.
It was on my little Woody's burger. It had to be
Yeah.
American cheese.
Correct.
Yeah. And he's
Yes.
got 2 slices. And there's pickled carrots as well. So you get like a little brightness to it. I mean, it is a beefy boy as a half-pound burger.
Damn.
I don't normally fuck with a half-pound burger. That's too much meat for me. But
Not for me.
I housed this because it was just that good. And I want it for the rest of my days. And this is the last day today.
I'm gonna
freeze
go.
it, bro.
I'm gonna go up to the hill after this and go get it.
Yeah.
Freeze it, bro.
I might join you.
And then Jose and Steph have the bone-in pork chop
Yeah.
sandwich at Lil Woody's next
Whoa,
week,
that's
which
right.
I think is kind of a troll.
I think it is. I love it.
Bone-in
I
sandwich.
think people are
That's
going to
trippy as
be confused, but I think they'll get it.
We've got
you
them
know?
on the pod next week, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no
so
kidding.
they can
How
explain
cool.
themselves.
Yeah, we're gonna get an
Yeah.
explanation. of that
Michael,
from
what'd you
them.
eat this week?
I went to a spot called Hairfest. You guys been to Hairfest?
I know how to spell it.
Yeah, that's
I haven't been there.
The
On Stone Way.
General Harvest group.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a chef named Patricio. They let this fucking guy cook, bro, because he was doing some wild things to some ingredients that I haven't seen done before.
Nice.
I really appreciated all the different hospitality that they afforded me at Hairfest. But small little restaurant next to the old Roro's barbecue. If you remember that, this is between Fremont and Gasworks Park.
Oh, okay.
And I had this amazing foie gras starter with the salmon eggs on top of it. We had just a beautiful meal.
Yeah.
Can't recount all of it, but maybe the thing to report back on the most is the Shirley Temple I had. I'm a Shirley Temple connoisseur.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
There's
man.
Like that kid in the New York Times. Did you
He
see
bit
that?
my shit. No. There's a Facebook post where I'm lighting this kid up. My grandpa owns a bar in San Francisco, and
Okay.
for some reason I would be at that bar as a kid, and I would sit in front of the cherries. So my grandma would just make me Shirley Temples, but this dude made me like a cardamom. Dude, he was like,
shit.
this is my third Shirley Temple at this point. He's like, let me do something different. So
He's gonna riff on it for you.
Yeah, Hairfest. The thing I want to drive home most is the creativity of Patricio and their hospitality. They'll do shit like that for you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, look out, Hairfest. You're gonna get an 11-year-old influencer rolling up pretty soon.
Dude, I just read he's back. I read a New York Times article. I was mad. He's my op. So I didn't like seeing his face.
I saw that article.
You did, right?
Because I could not bear to
You were
read
mad.
it.
Marco was mad.
I wasn't mad,
Yeah,
but
you were.
I was repulsed. I would say.
You know when I know you're mad is when you
Yeah,
post
dude.
like 5 stories and it's all text.
Oh yeah, that
You're
would
just
do
like,
it.
and another thing about this fucking
Well,
kid.
I mean, it wasn't really this fucking kid so much as the.
I'm not calling you out. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well,
You're right. What the fuck is this?
I mean, like, do what you do, but the importance of it,
Did you see the big quote? The role of a critic is to make things better.
the role of a critic is to have some humility.
Sure, I hope so.
I will say, go in.
Beverage humility.
If you can't go,
humility,
if you cannot
soda.
go into a critical situation without some sense of humility, you shouldn't be doing it. I'm gonna
Heard
throw that
bro.
down right now.
Pin that shit, bro. Yeah, so
Tough love.
Sounds like the kid didn't have that, but maybe he'll.
Which, of course, his brain isn't fully
course,
formed.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
drinking Shirley Temple. So,
Oh, yeah.
no hate on him. I don't like the culture around it that is sort of breeding this.
I'm just thinking about
Yeah, I heard
what
that, bro.
reporter at the NYT was like, here's what we're going to showcase.
That's
This
my
is what the
style.
people
I like-
need to know about.
I like that.
I don't. What if I got that assignment?
No, bro, you
No,
gotta
it's
keep,
someone who pitched it. I'm sure it's like their
Yeah.
nephew or something.
you gotta keep the people in business on Facebook commenting. Really, this is news.
Yeah,
you
they
gotta
love
keep
it.
them in business, bro.
They love it. It's a factory.
That was what
Yeah.
I was posting about. Was that how obvious I hate clickbait it was?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
I'm not gonna click on it because I don't want to give them the hate click. They want. I know it. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, bro.
Wait, anyone eat anything else?
Deho Galbi Gym.
Where's that?
Ooh,
Deho
that's shoreline,
Galbi
right?
Gym. I have publicly hated on Koreans for the last 2 years. You guys get too much clout.
It ends.
But no, I
today.
don't. Literally, I'm about to go there after this. I'm not joking because that's where my thing is after this. So Daeho, Daeho in Bellevue, serves a dish called galbi jim,
Yeah.
which is the pride of Korea. They won't tell you about it though. You gotta ask
It's the
about
beef
it.
soup.
It's like a stew.
Okay.
And I have a hard time saying that word because it has a connotation in everybody's mind.
Yeah.
What does a stew have? It's meat, bones, like this really tender meat on the bone, potatoes, rice cake, tteokbokkis. And then what is it? Like a broth or a gravy, right? I'm gonna call it a gravy. This one's more like a gravy. You're putting that bitch on the rice.
Thick.
It's $65 and
It's $65.
you're supposed to share it with like 3 or 4 people.
$65 soup.
For 4 people. It's a
Okay.
big it's a big
Okay.
ass
Yeah,
thing.
It's a cauldron.
family
Yeah.
style.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be family style though. Depending on how much weed you smoke,
How
it
much
could be a
you
you
eat,
thing.
yeah.
Just house it yourself.
But
Personal.
Daeho Galbi Gym, if you go in the next, no, you need DeLorean if you're here this episode. But I'll be there. I'll be there in an hour. I'll be there in an hour.
Good. Speaking of Korean food, I'm slightly obsessed with a place I haven't gone to yet. Through an influencer video called Cafe Remix, which used to be in Federal Way, and they just moved to Pike Place. Like
So that's how you know. It used to be from
across
Federal Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that location's closed. And the new location just opened last week. It's
In Pike
across
Place.
from
Right.
it's across from Cost Plus World Market. They have those jiggly wiggly souffle pancakes like
hell yeah.
that have matcha and ube and all that, which look great. Excited about that. But what they also have is a dish called fish cake. And it's the fish cake that you get
It's
in
the best
ramen.
bunch
Yeah,
on.
it's the
It's
like the kind of broiled kind of fish cake. Anyway, it comes with a tteokbokki that's like 4 feet long and it's coiled around it like a fucking snake. And in the video, there's this little tiny bowl with like a couple triangles of fish cake. And then someone takes the chopsticks and like pulls out like
Oh,
the
that's
world's
sick.
longest fucking tteokbokki.
Yeah, that's sick.
I'm obsessed with it. I want it so bad. I almost
my
woke
favorite.
up at 6 a.m. today to take the early train to go get it before the podcast.
Wow, that's a statement.
I don't know if it's good, but and people say it's spicy as shit too, so I'm excited.
Year of the tteokbokki snake.
I want it
Yeah,
real
you
bad.
guys are good at saying that. I'm listening to both of you say that shit. Tteokbokki.
Pronunciation is absolutely in my head since doing this podcast.
Yeah,
because
you're up for that,
like,
bro.
I'm used to writing, and then I realize I have to say something, and I just
Yeah, right. We have to look
I gotta
it up.
figure out how to
Yeah.
say
And
it.
you go to that one of those websites. It's like how to pronounce, and then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like native Korean speaker, a Korean American speaker, and you like
You
listen.
got to
to
go
them
on
all.
the YouTube. I'd be on the YouTube a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it'll give you some wrong info, man. Like
You gotta,
they'll do
you
you
gotta watch
dirty.
the Korean guy's face say it, not
That's
the
true.
audio.
Yeah.
I need the Korean guy's face on the shit.
There you go. You
That's
gotta
how you do
validate
it.
it with the face.
Yeah, bro.
For sure.
Oh, do we want to talk about drumlin? At drumlin, we ate carrots. That's what we ate.
Oh yeah. And
Remember
tell
the
me
fucking
more.
carrots?
But that sounded so innocuous, but they were so deeply roasted and both.
First of all, we had some bullshit carrots at a place I won't mention so much
Yeah.
that I sent them back.
Oh boy.
I was
Yeah.
pissed.
We-
It
yeah,
said
we-
roasted carrots, and they were like parboiled and crunchy in the middle. I
Oh,
was
come
very
on.
angry about
Oh,
those
hell
fucking
no.
carrots.
Yeah, those carrots had no browning, and so we wanted to avenge our roast carrot mishap.
And we even told
previously.
Zephyr, we were like, "Hey, I want these carrots, but I'm also scared
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we,
we
got
were- we
fucking
were-
burned by some bad carrots."
We were gun shy.
And she was like, "No, not these carrots. They'll change your life." And she was right.
Yeah.
What is this spot called?
It's called drumlin.
Drumlin.
Drumlin is like it means it's an Irish word for a little hill, short
okay.
hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a cute ass name for a
Yeah,
little hill.
up in
I
the
got you.
Ridgecrest neighborhood of Shoreline, which is I think 165th-ish, right?
Yeah.
There's a really cute bookstore right next door. There's a guitar shop across the street, and the brewery is
There's
next
a
door.
school
Seattle
Yeah.
as fuck. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
carrots with like goat yogurt and pomegranate molasses
Oh,
and
yeah.
like some nutty, crunchy bits on it.
That's
it was
the
so
right
good.
shit.
And you want to like clean up all the
Yeah.
sauce with your
Sop it
fucking
up. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a cocktail there called Women's Work, which was made with all women-owned
Producers.
makers. Yes, producers. And it was one of the most unique flavor profiles I've ever had in a cocktail in the city. And I was like, Meg, you got to try this because I think this
Yeah.
is gonna hit. And
Yeah, and I loved it so much that I'm going to write my column about it this week, actually.
Wow.
yeah,
It was tequila, triple sec. Well, it was Florida Azar,
Yeah.
which is a kind of triple sec. House-made lemon soda,
house-made lemon soda, and then there was
honey powder, and bee pollen.
yes, honey
Oh,
powder,
yeah.
bee
And a ginger
pollen.
liqueur. There's also a ginger liqueur.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Very refreshing. I normally stay away from tequila drinks because they fuck me up. They're
Yeah.
syrupy, they're heavy,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to end up on your lips. But this was so light and bright
sounds
and
crazy.
femme and citrus.
I s-
And
It was
As,
I loved it.
as soon as they start putting the powders and fine, like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
alchemy is at play.
It was a great, that alchemy is the
Yeah.
perfect descriptor
Yeah.
for it because it was so mellow and smooth, but without being passive. It had flavor to it. It just was a very fine, like high thread count sateen sheets.
I
you
love
know?
that. That's
And
that's
also,
great.
Zephyr said that the honey comes from beekeepers who live like in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, just a couple
Women
blocks away,
beekeepers?
right?
Yeah.
That's
In the nave. I thought it was funny because there's another Kate Bush themed cocktail
Right.
called Running Up That Hill. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you've got women's work. I laughed because it was called This Woman's Work is the Kate Bush song. And then
Yeah.
I saw there was also a cocktail called Running Up That Hill. And so I was like, oh, are these all Kate Bush themed? And Zephyr was like, no, just Running Up That Hill. And I'm like, but the women's work is not after this woman's work? No? Okay.
This is like, do you remember the movie The Other Guys with Will Ferrell? There's Michael Keaton's in that movie, and he keeps referencing
way.
TLC. And he's like, what the fuck you talking about? He's like, all right, guys, go out and chase those waterfalls. He's like, did you do
No,
anything?
that's a TLC
What the fuck are you
reference.
talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was the same shit.
That's it.
Love it.
All right, I
had a
think we
lot of
should wrap
fun.
it, folks. Thanks so much, Michael, for being on the show.
My sincere pleasure.
We
Mark
really
and Meg.
enjoyed hanging out with you.
Back at you.
Yeah.
In the beautiful, what is this?
Oyster Cellar, yeah.
Beautiful Oyster
Yeah.
Cellar.
It's a beautiful spot, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like we
folks,
said-
follow Asian Verified on IG. Are you
Yes.
working on other projects? You've got The Stranger.
Nothing you guys need to know about, but follow the stranger. Just different people in my different lives care about different things.
You'll have a story coming out on The
Yeah,
Stranger in the
by
next
the
week
time
or
this
two.
comes out, that's not true. A week after this podcast comes out, there'll be a new column in The Stranger about the curious Cajun prowess of the Vietnamese people.
Nice.
Oh, I love
the
it.
Viet Cajun
How the fuck did that happen?
situation.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Cool.
Nice. Sounds good. Next week we've got Jose Garzon and Steph Heber from
Oh!
Bad Chancla.
Jose,
talk
I
about-
kept the seat warm for you, buddy.
We're going to talk about why you'd put a bone in a pork chop sandwich.
Yeah, and much, much more.
All right, thanks, folks. See you
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.
Deuces.